What happened to me when we took a break and before we came back in over here, we'd spent pretty much a few hours together, right? And I just needed my quiet space. So I went alone and I sat in the balcony because that's my way of sort of going inwards and being a little quiet and then re-energizing myself and coming back into the group. And I realized that it's so important for us to do that, you know, to get back in touch with who am I, what am I, why am I here, what does this mean to me, and then sort of, you know, come back with that energy available.
That's so true, because I think once you lose that touch, or, you know, at one point I think I was just so stressed for what I do not remember right now.
For not feeding us, for not giving us water.
She's really sweet, but she's so sweet. But I do remember just completely disconnecting. There used to be a time where I could go and just, you know, shut my eyes for 5 minutes and rejuvenate and come back. And during those times when I was really stressed, your mind just wouldn't go shant. You know, it was crazy, and I was like, it used to be so easy for me, and why is it so difficult for me right now, you know?
And the more stressed we are, the less time we make for ourselves.
Agreed. You don't feel like making time for yourself. I think it's more like it.
Yeah. We feel like we need to be out there solving the problem rather than in...
Oh, you know what? When is the time when you're most rested and peaceful? Tell me.
When you sleep?
When you wake up.
Yeah,
after you've slept.
Sleep?
okay, yeah. Thank you. Okay. So silence is golden because that is what takes you inside. You know, but we have the silence only when we're sleeping, and it's a different level of awareness. But if we try and bring it, if we try and bring in that same kind of silence
Consciously.
whether consciously or as a practice or whatever suits everybody, and consciously of course, yes, then you have time to reflect. You don't wait for the ceiling to fall down and then say, oh my god, now I better do this.
In a training group once, there was this lady who finally learned how to press pause, and I think in a recent parenting workshop, a group that I was running, one of the things I said is, how do we build trust with our children? How do we stay positive? How do we give them our complete attention? Really, it's not about the other, it's about self.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? So stop, analyze, and then proceed.
True.
And what is that analysis? I mean, the whole analysis, even though it's a scientific term, it's really about going inwards.
Correct.
And becoming aware. If I'm feeling this, what's happening? Is it my past? Is it my present? Am I hungry? Am I angry? Is there a frog in my tummy?
No, that's so true, because I think women tend to forget themselves to a large extent, because all you're doing is just doing for others.
Yeah.
So you do not have that pause and maybe a reset button at some time. You don't get that. You don't get that opportunity. Like, I was married at 18. And I had my first child when I was 20, and I never really got time to live with myself. A woman's always been taken care of, either her father, or it's taken for granted that the husband's going to take care of her, and then a woman has the expectation that my children will grow up and take care of me. I mean, that's a given, but somewhere I think a woman just doesn't step back and say, I need me time.
Yeah.
Because you're always such a giving person, you're always doing. So I think that's where a lot of women were really, because I am into training of makeup, and I have an academy, and I do have a lot of women who come here and say, Gauri, we want to press the reset button, we want to get somewhere in life, we want to have an identity of my own. And I think that's what really drew me to even training women, because it's very important to have an identity. Who are you?
Yeah.
Correct.
Who are you, right?
Yeah.
Why do I do what I do? Like, if I'm a family maker, if I'm a homemaker, if that gives me utmost joy, then great. Yeah, nobody's saying we have to be career people, but there are so many homemakers, at least in India, who aren't happy doing that.
Very true.
See, I'll tell you one thing, okay? All these things that we are saying, just if we had that simple knowledge, okay, wisdom, which was inculcated in us from an early age, that just live in the now. Because we start with a manufacturing date and there is an expiry date. Okay, we all look the same from inside. We have the same parts, inside, outside.
But you do
Okay?
not think that when you're 25.
No, that's
right?
exactly what I mean. It's so beautiful, to get an opportunity to talk about things like this. And, you go into a system of, you go early into a space, like we have the Gurukuls. The child would
Right.
learn all this from the age of 7. They didn't have to wait for 25 to happen, yeah?
Yeah.
अभी 25 साल के बाद क्या करोगे, वो तो हो गया, that kind of thing.
You're talking about learning about life.
Learning about being in the now, which
being
is
in
the
the now,
which is the
yeah.
basis of our our existence and knowledge to be able to operate in this world in a peaceful and in a mindful and a discriminative manner. It's a formula. So you don't have to study like books for that. It's just quality education, not and not coming from again book, but coming from life experience.
I'm trying to absorb this and get an example to help me understand it. So if I'm the homemaker that I was talking about, and you're saying learn to live in the now, what that would look like is not talk about my husband coming late from work every day in the past 1 year, but talk about today what it is.
No.
Okay.
No.
Or my child failed his 10th standard. Not is that what how do I
No, very
Very interesting,
a thought out question. See, when we say being in the now, it comes from a very intelligent space. It comes from being in the now in awareness, in complete awareness. So your awareness will create a blueprint for you as a responsibility. If the son has failed, you're playing the role dharma of a mother, so you have to attend to him and check out and see like what happened with him, why did this happen, or if the husband's coming home late, he's the husband, and there are equations and it's a personal thing.
So if I'm aware that I'm irritated that my son failed and I nag him, am I doing it in
Okay, now this is very very interesting question, very very interesting thought. See, that's where they say viveka, discrimination comes, and that's where the intelligence comes, because you will think of the outcome. You will first think, what is it that I want out of this? Because there's nothing wrong getting emotional, but the emotions can't integrate and take over. You have to, why are you getting worked up? Because he did something, you need a result. It's not a personal thing. You want him to do well. So you have to design it and craft it in a way which is conducive for him, because otherwise you may create a repercussion which he would probably not like, and he would hold it in his head for the rest of his life. So you have to be
in transactional analysis we call it I'm okay, you're okay. So become aware of what's happening in myself, but communicate it in a way that doesn't put the other down.
Exactly.
Or self.
Correct. Right.
And in TA, transactional analysis, which I live by, we call it the okay philosophy, which is really being okay with yourself and the other, even if things are not okay. Yeah, so I might be upset, but that's okay too. I might be angry, and that's okay too. So when there's an acceptance of who I am and how I am, I'm then able to accept the other for who they are too.
But how do you train the mind for that? How do you get someone to even accept it? Because a lot of people are into the whole mode of an expectation and non-acceptance. So how would you say that we can actually tweak our minds to that?
Tons and tons and tons of permissions to self and to the other. So, for example, boys don't cry. What is that?
I know, that's
What
like
is that?
it's
It's a complete blocking of emotions. Don't be a wimp. Don't be a sissy. When I give a child the permission to feel all your feelings, irrespective of your gender, you're a boy, you're a girl, whatever you are, you feel all your feelings.
Right.
It's okay for you to show it. It's okay for you to cry. I think that's where we are really being able to, accept what is difficult or not okay within ourselves. That's the okay principle. I'm okay to be not okay.
Yeah.
And when we can give ourselves that permission, yeah, it's okay to think for yourself. It's okay to be independent. It's okay to live a life alone by your own rules.
And that doesn't make you selfish.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's
I mean,
a good
that's-
selfish.
yeah.
Great point. Yeah.
But what I was going to say is there's a pair of opposites for everything. So for this okay methodology, yeah, it works. But that okay in a situation where it's a very strong conditioning for someone, it may have negative repercussion because the person has to go with the flow with his or her feeling. Sometimes if you suppress something and you're not ready for it, then it just manifests in other parts of the body.
When you say that, we don't show some feelings or whatever, right? I think because of how we're conditioned growing up, certain feelings are allowed, certain feelings are disallowed in families. Boys are allowed to show anger, which is why there is so much violence, there is rape.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So boys, it's okay for a boy to be angry, but is it okay for me to go and whack someone who's catcalling me or eve teasing me?
Yeah.
Why are women not doing it as much?
Right.
Yeah. So some emotions are allowed, some behavioral manifestations are allowed, but some are disallowed. And I think when I say okay, it's very simplified, and let's not believe that because it sounds so simple that it's easy
so
to do.
simple, yeah, of course,
It takes lot of self-awareness and conditioning, reconditioning to get away from all of the old messages that we're carrying, right? And repeated reinforcement. So when I do it the first time, it might not feel okay. When I do it the 6th, it still might not. But by the 500th time, maybe then it starts to become a little more part of me.
Yeah, so it requires that kind of commitment.
Absolutely.
It really requires commitment because you can't leave someone in the middle, because what if they come and then it's everything's going to come out. Stuff is going to come out.
Oh yeah. So when we're in therapy or counseling, we really contract for a longer period of time because it is. And it's so much of it is subconscious.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't even know what we don't know.
Correct.
And really for us to be able to process that and deal with it, it takes a certain amount of time, and our role therefore is the scaffolding, the safety, the holding the space.
Yeah. Subconsciously we are behaving like the way the society would like us to believe. Okay, so being women, we actually forget who we are, our power, our strength, our abilities to do so many things or to multitask, and I think that's why we kind of losing out somewhere from the previous generation as to the way I would see my mother and myself, and I would see, or if I had a daughter, how I would train her.
And how rebellious we could be.
Exactly. And it's not that we weren't.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we were rebels in school.
We were, totally.
Yeah, and so it's really that standing up for self, navigating on my own, trying to break these shackles which society has put on us, that a woman needs to be a certain way, or mother should do this. Like, I'll tell you, I'm not an early riser, and I have got enough flack about this from my mom. I would force myself to wake up in the morning, but I'm a grump, and I would take out that irritation on my little fellow, which was so unfair to him, until I decided for myself, enough. I'm going to wake up when my body is ready for me to wake up.
Yeah.
I've had my 8 hours of sleep. Sometimes I sleep at 12, it may be 8. Sometimes I sleep at 11 or 7 in the evening. I wake up 8 hours later, and I'm a much better person to interact with this little fellow in front of me. Yeah, I don't care what my mother believes or says. That doesn't make me a bad mom.
So basically what we're trying to say is self-love is denied to women because you're not allowed to get it. You don't have the time, because you're supposed to be hands-on. You're supposed to be hands-on from morning till, because I think that's why I was also called a bad mom, because I was a working mom, and not that I was working from 9 to 5, but I was, I did have certain late hours and stuff, and you can't help the situations, but that doesn't make me a bad mother. But you are labeled as a bad mother. I think it's just such a given thing that if a woman works, you're labeled as a bad mother, or you're not giving enough time to your parents, you can be a bad daughter. So you're just kind of fitting into the roles that we're playing, which drain you out.
And stereotypes.
Exactly. And then you kind of figuring it out. Then is it too late to discover ourselves? And Samita, I want you to talk about that. as to, because you know the way you started off to where you've become.
There is always a pair of opposites, because if you bend forward, you have to bend backwards. If there's up, there's down. If someone really wants to do something, they will.
Because when you're married, you have like this entire image to live up to, and if you go beyond that, in terms of I can choose not to be affected by what people are saying, but eventually, when it kind of boils down to, you know, this is your role. You're not a good mother, or you're not a good wife, or I mean, who is defining the role playing? It's probably easier when you're playing just one role, and I think that's where I would say my sons are really lucky on that because you know it's so simple for them. But for women, it does get complicated. Even if I have to deal with my two sons, I have two completely different personalities.
But that's exactly the beauty, my dear, because when you do that, you're expanding yourself, you're pushing yourself, and you're growing more and more and more. Like, you know, if you need muscles, you need to work out. So you are getting these situations, and if you are matured, then you will know that you just need to do it, and it makes you, you know,
stay positive about it.
And more expanded person.
I agree.
You're saying it takes a certain amount of inner reflection and allowing yourself to flow and sort of feel what's coming up for you and go with that.
Right.
And eventually that will bring you out of a stuck situation or a difficult time or whatever, and therefore increase your muscle power, as you say, or maturity, right?
When you're put in a difficult situation, then you go to the next level of tolerance, because when you're in situations like that, then you would require a lot of everything possible, you know, and when you come out of it, you're stronger.
So for a person going through a hard time in life, a woman, a man, whoever, a child, a 17-year-old, right? Are you saying that they need to just sit and reflect and this will come to them? I mean, should they not seek help outside? Should they not go to resources?
Like, you're right. You're very right. Okay. See, when we're saying this, we're saying that if they reflect in a certain way, they will get the intelligence, and that intelligence will create a thought. That thought, you know, there's a common saying, will create an action, and then, you know, it'll become a conditioning.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so my psychotherapy mind is telling me, if a person's going through a shitstorm, right? They're anyway going to want to do this. In the sense that they're so desperate.
All of them?
Many people.
Yeah, I think majority.
And today I think we're more aware of mental health. You know, there's Deepika Padukone talking about it, what happened with Sushant and all of this, right? So people are more aware of the importance of
the mental well-being.
Absolute mind, body, soul. Really the synchrony of it all.
Right.
And so they know when they need to possibly what they can handle on their own, what they can reach out for. How much of it, therefore, do they need to deal with on their own, using this wisdom?
Right.
And when do they then need to reach out, or you know, say, guys, I need help.
Right.
I think, Nish, it's the wisdom in this is not reacting.
Correct.
I think that's what Samhita is trying to say. If you react to a certain situation, then you are dealing with it. If you don't react, you're not dealing with it. So I think that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, because see, what happens is, if you're in a certain situation, and then it's like, I'll say, you're a fool, and you'll tell me you're a bloody fool. So it's like when I'll say, you're a bigger fool. That's a reaction cycle, you know.
Yeah.
But then if you like are aware, and then you say, okay, she called me a fool, thanks for the compliment, but you can keep it back. Or, you know, you just keep quiet, or you say, okay, you know, I'm not going to waste my energy like doing this, like I don't want to go there, you know, something like that. So
basically you can be in any situation, it's just how you deal with it and how you react to it. I think that's what
at that moment, because it's so you don't know the place, the state of mind, the time, how the person was feeling, and you know,
because I've corrected myself so many times, I think, after when she says this, and it makes sense, because I used to, it was like when you're dealing with so many things, you tend to be snappy at times, you know, and my son would say something, I'll go boom, you know, and then I kind of changed, and I said, you know what, that's not the right way, because he doesn't have to bear the brunt of how I'm feeling. And I changed the entire reaction to it. And I think that made such a huge difference in our relationship,
Yeah.
which is what I figured out. But sometimes you just feel that I am doing everything, you know, it's just me changing things, me changing situations,
Yeah.
you know, and that can be frustrating at times.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I'm agreeing with both of you. I'm trying to think, for somebody listening to us, for someone who has, something to take away from this. How do they, what's tangible for them? What is tangible? What makes
Correct.
it meaningful? What makes it useful? It's not just three of us sitting here and talking, but really what we wanted to do was, what you and I have spoken about over
Yes.
many, conversations, G, and that's being meaningful.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So how does someone who's going through a hard time, who's having a tough time in the job, being compared with male colleagues, or difficulty parenting, difficulty with health maybe,
Or
pregnancy.
even getting single. I think being single was another ball game altogether.
yeah, we know.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, so what do we leave for them?
I think a very simple things, because you can't if I say, do this, if it was so easy to do, then you would do it.
You would have done it anyway.
Exactly. So the simple, it's like an exercise. I would say, to begin with, what, just take 5-7 minutes, choose a place, just close your eyes and just sit in silence. Just that little bit of silence. And maybe, if you're like at work in the afternoon, just take 2 minutes, just shut off. You were talking about
Yeah,
shutting
yeah,
off,
yeah.
but not shutting
Really
off like
helps.
shutting off like that, but just reconnect with yourself. Nothing, you don't have to do anything, just sit in quiet, and then do it again once in the evening. So what you're doing is, it's like a pill, prescription, 3 times a day. And you just do that to begin with. And then if they're doing that, then we'll say, write to us, because then we'll tell you what to do in the next step, or like, we'd definitely like to help you. If you say that somebody can't do that, because for a few minutes, like, just close their eyes, it's, if someone wants to, they can, if they really want to.
I also
Yeah.
think it's awareness of connecting with your body, because earlier it was easy for me. It was easy for me to just snap out and, cut off and just shut my eyes, and, because your body is saying just shut eyes for 5 minutes, and then eventually you just kind of forget. You
Right.
kind of get disconnected with your body. And I think that's what's important, because happiness doesn't just come as looking outside of you, it comes within. So you're looking for peace, you're looking
Yeah.
for your mind, body, soul connection.
So I think what I'm getting here is, your husband can't make you happy, your son can't make you happy, your friends can't make you happy. Really, happiness is what you create within yourself.
You know what, we were just talking about this a little while back. So happiness or being equanimous, because happiness, if your happiness and then some unhappiness happens, then what happens? But if you're equanimous, then you get more strength to
Deal
be in
with both.
different situations, and I'm not saying equanimous like, there's a fire, I'm just going to sit here like this, not that, but we're saying with awareness and with discrimination and with intelligence, because if you're equanimous, then you are in a safe zone.
Which is basically accepting of what's happening around me, and then taking my time to figure how I want to deal with
Yeah,
it.
and
Yeah.
stop looking for happiness around you, because whoever promised you that life will be perfect or life is going to be happy.
Yeah.
So you have to start looking within you.
Right, exactly, yeah. And I mean, like, I don't think, like, want to add any more to it, but she wrapped it up really well.
So G, why are we having these conversations? What's your thinking behind why this is so important?
I think from the past 50 years, if I look at my mother, she's so grounded. I look at myself where I'm trying to play multiple roles, trying to perfect each role. And I'm sure, because I do relate to women, and I am training only for the reason that I feel it's very important for a woman to be independent. And that was the reason that I even started this off. And I think this project also is taking me to that direction, where I want women to understand themselves, because if me myself, because everyone would look at me as this glamorous, life's easy, and but you have your share of hardships. But it's when you emerge stronger, when you emerge, at peace with what you've gone through. I think that's what's important. Makes you a little more stronger, because I do have, they Gauri, how are you so strong? Or, how do you deal with situations like that? And I'm
do you keep
saying,
smiling through it all? Yeah.
so I think it's just about life. It's just about life, which teaches you that you have to be strong. You have to smile through everything.
Yeah, but then it's also, it's an innate quality. It doesn't just come, it's there in you, but then it's like coming out now, because now you're like probably free and you're independent, and
You're
it's just coming
allowing
out.
it to come
You're
out.
allowing it to manifest and come out, so it's not just this, attitude and everything, yeah, but it has to be there, you know what I mean? Like, you can't teach someone to like just sing or like, or write poetry in a certain way. It's there, So.
And I also see so many other women struggling. I mean, I think it's more like you just have to be at peace with yourself and what takes you there. Nobody really teaches you about life. Nobody tells you these are the rules that you have to follow and you'll have a happy life. I wish it was that way. It's not that way. So it's more like way, where you say unhappiness is okay.
Yeah.
Happiness is okay. I am not looking outside myself. I'm not expecting my children to be this and this, because if they are something opposite, I am still okay with that. But that takes a lot of acceptance and a lot of life struggles and trying to be at peace with yourself, which I think is the most difficult part, because when you have body memories or you have mind memories where you have expectations, and I think these romantic movies need to be banned because every woman has this expectation of certain things which never come true, and I think that's what I want to bring reality out. I want to bring that we have gone through hardships, and that's what makes us who we are.
Real.
So absolutely.
Beautiful outside.
Beautiful inside.
Yep.
And that's a wrap.
Yeah.